Hi everyone, it's Tracy Lizotte here, and today I want to share with you how I painted my cardinal from my blue jay tree collection. I love painting bright red cardinals. However, I find red in watercolors to be a very tricky color to paint. Red is very translucent, especially the red I like to use, which is Alizarin Crimson. And I find when you paint multiple layers of red, it's very hard to get them to lay the way you want them to do because there isn't much stainability. They're very easy to lift off. So, you know, the combination of trying to build up layers, but layers that want to lift off from one another, well, that makes red a challenge to paint. To start this bird, I don't even use red paint to begin with. I start off with yellow. I paint the chest and a few other areas of the bird first with yellow, and I let that completely dry before my first layer of red. And the reason for this is I want to give this red a nice warm glow, and that yellow will do that. It'll shine through the reds and warm up the red. Now, in order to give some shadowy areas or darker areas of red, I will tint the red with indigo. And that indigo, depending on how strong I make it, could look like a deep purple or just a slightly darker shade of alizarin crimson, which gives me a great range from a nice warm glow to a deep, deep, dark, shadowy, cool red in my cardinal. You'll notice I have broken this cardinal up into different sections, and I jump around painting each section one at a time, working them all up at the same time. That way I avoid one area looking disjointed or disconnected. As I paint this first layer of red, I tend to leave a little bit of white space in between each shape. That way I can start off this first base coat of red defining where my lights and dark areas are gonna go, and they won't bleed into one another. There is also no real rhyme or reason to exactly which feather should be darker and which one should be lighter. I mean, I have a general idea that I know like the tail feathers are going to be darker and the chest is going to be lighter, but even in the tail feather, I need to set those feathers against each other, lights and darks, or else they're all going to blend into each other. So I just kind of choose every other one to be a darker one. Same with the wings, you know, and there are areas where one feather overlaps another, so I'll create a shadow underneath the underneath one. You know, they're just these little things I've learned to do over years and years of practicing painting feathers on birds. Now that my bird is mostly painted at least one layer of red, I can evaluate and go back through the cardinal and decide what areas need another layer, what needs to pop a little more. Sometimes red can look dull, and you need to build up several layers of washes for them all to work together to give the red you're looking for that final bright, vibrant pop. It's also important at this stage of painting this cardinal for me to recognize when a certain feather or area of the bird is done, and I should just let it be. It's very important not to overwork a watercolor, because if you do, you will lose that nice, bright, vibrant glow you get from the paper. So far, I'm really happy with the way the cardinal's coming out. Now it's time to paint its feet. And for that, I use some Payne's gray first, and then before the Payne's gray is dry, I drop in a little bit of orange. And for my orange, I use Cadmium Red Light. And sometimes even right here on the beak, I put a layer of yellow down first, so the yellow will shine through and give it more of an orangey feel to it. Now, there are areas I want to make even darker, and most of that's in the tail feathers. I have really gone in here now, and I'm really laying in some alizarin crimson with lots of indigo to really start building up that contrast. You can actually see here I'm on the verge of overworking the tail feathers. As I go into the tail feathers, I can start lifting some of the previous layers. I'm starting to push it around, which makes it real easy to fix a mistake, but it's also real easy to mess up a texture or a value that you really like, because if you touch it and move it, you can't get it back. Now, the tail feathers right now are looking very dark, and it almost looks out of balance right now, but I'm going to fix that by painting the black in the cardinal's face. This is really going to help bring some balance to this bird. I love how black looks against red. Oh my goodness, it just creates such a great contrast. And I love this part of the whole painting where I'm finishing it up, and I save my very, very favorite part for last, and that is painting the eye. I always paint the eyes to all my animals, birds, critters, whatever it is I paint. I always save it for the very last thing, because I feel like when you paint the eye in to the painting, it breathes life into the creature you're painting. And in this case, my cardinal. And they have brown eyes around their little black pupil. There we go. A little bit of a white highlight in the middle, and voila, my cardinal is done. I really hope you've enjoyed watching me and how I paint a cardinal. Maybe it's something you might want to give a try, and if you do, I'd love to hear how it goes. Please share in the comments below, and if you'd like to see how my cardinal fits into my blue jay tree, please feel free to visit my website, tracylizottestudios.com. You can also see how I painted the tree with 1 cardinal and 5 blue jays in it in my previous tutorial, which is pretty nifty to see how I put all these pieces together. And if you'd like to see what I paint next, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching.